This is NBAD Governance YouTube platform. Please subscribe to stay connected, and thanks for watching our videos.
Welcome to Newsline Africa. Today we bring you a breaking development that could rattle the political and security landscape of West Africa. Intelligence agencies from Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have reportedly released a list of senior Nigerian politicians accused of supporting the very bandit groups wreaking havoc in Nigeria's northwest. This isn't just another political headline. It's a direct challenge to national security, international relations, and the survival of millions of innocent people in northern Nigeria. Stay tuned until the end of this video, because what we're about to reveal will raise profound questions about Nigeria's future and the integrity of its leadership. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Newsline Africa for timely and vital updates like this one. The fact that it is foreign intelligence agencies, not Nigeria's own security services, uncovering these alleged ties raises an alarming question. Why isn't this coming from within Nigeria's intelligence community itself? Does this point to a collapse of trust within Nigeria's security apparatus, or even worse, to complicity at the very highest levels of government?
Well, guys, after I saw this news about what the leaders of the Sahel state said, I knew something was off. I knew that for some reason the media is hiding something. I guess this man mentioned a few names, but the media tried as much as possible to hide it. So I had to quickly, I wasn't so comfortable with that. So I had to quickly go to Grok to go and re-listen to the statements from the leaders of the Sahel states themselves. Now, behold, this was what I found. Now, I'm going to read this out. Joint address from Sahel Alliance calls out Nigerian betrayal in the fight against terrorism. Now, this is from Colonel Assimi Gota. Brothers and sisters of the Sahel, friends across Africa and the world watching this betrayal unfold, good evening. Tonight, we don't come with empty words of diplomatic nicest. We come with evidence, with names, with the blood of our people on our hands, and the ghosts of villagers burnt to ashes. For too long, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have stood shoulder to shoulder against the jihadist Hydra, Boko Haram, ISWAP, the shadows that slittered across our borders. We've lost sons and daughters in the thousands, our economics gutted, our children orphaned, and yet, as we bleed, we have uncovered a poison at the heart of it all. Nigerian politicians, those suited wolves in Abuja, feeding the very monsters we fight. Let me paint it for you plainly, like a story around the fire. Imagine a man in a grand office sipping tea from a cup bought with our suffering coin. He wires funds, not to schools or clinics, but to arms dealers in the desert. He turns a blind eye to convoys crossing the border, loaded with AKs and RPG stamped, made in Nigeria. Why? Power. Vote from the fearful, land grabs in the north. We've got the bank records, the satellite tracks, the confessions from captured couriers who sang like birds under our lamp. These aren't whispers, these are ledgers. Now, this is from General Tiani, Niger. Assimi speaks truth, and I'll add the grit of it. In Niger, we have buried 2,000 soldiers since the coup that freed us from foreign puppeteers. Our intelligence, shared with no one but our AES brothers, has mapped it out. A senator from Kano, pockets lined with oil money, funnels cash through Hawala networks to ISWAP cells, hitting our uranium mines. A governor in Burundi. He's the architect of peace deals that arm the very bandits raiding our market. And don't get me started on the retired generals turned consultants. They train these dogs in camps just south of Lake Chad, then pocket ECOWAS grants for counter-terrorism. We laughed bitterly when Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa, boasted last month about unmasking sponsors. Unmasking? He's looking in the mirror. Our agencies, Burkina Faso's, Mali's, ours have compiled a dossier thicker than the Bible. Names: Atiku Abubakar Shadow's donors linked, Tinubu's northern allies implicated, even the APC chieftains who cheered our sanctions while their jets dropped millet over the border. We've held back out of African brotherhood, but no more. By week's end, we'll release it all. Redacted for the innocent, unsparing for the guilty, Interpol's on speed dial. Now, this is from Ibrahim Tahori. Listen close. Nigeria, our big brother turned Judas. You lecture us on democracy while your elite bankroll the AK-47s killing our farmers. In Burkina, we have got mass graves with bullets from Lagos factories. We have intercepted calls. Send the boys north. The elections is coming. This isn't geopolitics. It's treason against Africa. The Sahel rises united. We invite honest Nigerians, soldiers, journalists, youths to join us. Defect. testify. But to the sponsors, your villas in Abuja won't shield you. Your private jets to London, grounded. The people know now. To ECOWAS, so the AU, wake up. This cancer spreads from Nigerian elites to our sons. We have endured your sanctions, your isolation. Now we expose. Mali, Niger, Burkina, we fight for a Sahel free of terror, not fueled by it. And Nigeria, heal thyself or step aside. The desert forgives no one. Arrest statement they tell you now. So my problem is, they mentioned all these names, and yet our media has found a way to shield it. When they see what's in the tell now, say this country is controlled by some people. Well, I rest my case.
What does it say about Nigeria's internal accountability when it takes outsiders to uncover the truth? The role of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is no coincidence. These nations, now under military-led governments, have branded themselves as security-first states, rejecting foreign domination and putting sovereignty at the center of their agenda.
Nigeria, it seems like they're the ones who have been paying these terrorists to destroy the Sahel states. The big question is Nigeria working with France to destroy the Sahel states? Well, we don't have an answer for that, but as soon as this joint statement is released, I'll be sure to let you know what's on this statement and who is on this statement.
By choosing to investigate Nigerian politicians accused of backing violent groups, these neighboring states are making one thing clear: regional security threats don't stop at the border. But this move also sparks a tough question. Has Nigeria, long hailed as the giant of Africa, now been eclipsed in security leadership by its smaller neighbors?
Are you telling me that if Nigeria is actually the giant of Africa, any terrorist can enter this country and operate for 24 hours, not to talk of 15 years now?
So you doubt that we are not giant of Africa?
Is that what?
So you think we're not giants of Africa?
I get time before no be property. That was the day when we were fighting for apartheid. When Nigeria had leaders, leaders who would challenge the white man and tell them to go to hell. You don't have such leaders again, especially in Nigeria. Rather, you have errand boys of the Western powers who have been placed here as our leaders, and they are now active agents for them. So what do you expect? Let somebody come and explain to me why we should have terrorist organizations in Nigeria soil. They did not just operate, and they are now taking over villages, renaming it, and occupying ancestral home of our people. Meanwhile, the owners of these villages are in IDP camp, and government is there. What kind of government is that? Is it not a shame and an embarrassment? You claim to be a leader. Which leader? You watch your people by foreign terrorists, foreign, not even within, foreign. That's why they came here and took over villages and rename it. So
the move that the UN is making now in calling on Africa to take full responsibility and ownership of its security, what would you think this kind of ownership? What do you think?
Good.
Look like
you know why
in practical terms.
Good. You know why they are calling them? Because they know they are not doing enough. You know, in diplomatic circle, there's a way you will insult somebody without actually being overly about it. Why would the UN tell them to take active priority over their security situation? Because they know that Africans are the reason for these things. They know. If not, they will not be calling them out. They know. They created it. They invited it. Like in Nigeria, are you not aware that some leaders of this country went to go and they brought these terrorists? Is it not on record? They were even boasting about it. How they went to bring in terrorists into Nigeria. Terrorists. And you think they don't know? The whole world knows. So that's why they are not, when you are talking about, they don't look the other side. They are not interested. You created it, you brought it, you get back to them. You can see. So how can I not sit down here and say, yeah, government is trying? No. They brought the terrorists into Nigeria. Until they take them back and Nigeria is free, I will not clap for any of them. Whether military or government, I will not. Because the way they have been treating these people is so annoying. When our military managed to catch some of them, they will not rehabilitate them into the military again.
How did Nigeria lose the trust and leadership role it once claimed in safeguarding regional stability? If the names of these politicians are eventually revealed, the political fallout could be explosive. Imagine the shock if credible evidence tied senior Nigerian leaders to the same bandits behind mass kidnappings, killings, and displacement in the Northwest. The result could be public outrage, a collapse of trust between citizens and their rulers, and a dangerous shakeup of Nigeria's fragile democracy. But the deeper question is this: how will Nigerians respond if they discover that those they elected to protect them may instead be funding their tormentors? Will there be accountability, or will this be buried under yet another cycle of denial and cover-ups? From a regional angle, the stakes are just as high. If Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso truly exposed Nigerian politicians, it would not only humiliate Nigeria on the world stage, but also elevate the Sahel Alliance as a serious force in the fight against terrorism. Could this mark the rise of a new regional power bloc, one that views Nigeria not as the leader, but as the weak link in the security chain? And how will this affect future cooperation between Abuja and its neighbors as they scramble to contain violence spilling across porous borders? We must also remember the human cost. Banditry in the northwest has shattered families, destroyed livelihoods, and left entire communities in ruins. For ordinary Nigerians, hearing that politicians might be behind their suffering is nothing short of betrayal. How can a nation heal if its leaders are accused of enabling the very violence tearing it apart? And will Nigerians finally demand justice for the victims, or will silence once again drown out the cries of the vulnerable? The timing makes this even more critical. With insecurity rising, the economy in crisis, and political discontent at boiling point, these revelations could ignite anger on a scale not seen in years. Could this be the spark for a national awakening, one where citizens demand real accountability, or will powerful interests twist the narrative to shield those at the top? The answers to these questions will determine not only Nigeria's future, but the stability of the entire West African region. As we look at this unfolding situation, the irony cannot be ignored. For years, Nigerian leaders have vowed to crush insecurity and end banditry. Billions of dollars have been spent on military operations, yet the violence continues. If these revelations turn out to be true, they would confirm what many Nigerians have quietly suspected, that some leaders may not want the crisis to end because they benefit politically or financially from the chaos. But how long can such a system survive before it finally collapses under the weight of its own contradictions? In the end, the possible exposure of senior Nigerian politicians allegedly tied to bandit groups by Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso raises urgent questions about leadership, accountability, and Nigeria's role in West Africa. This could be a turning point, either pushing Nigeria toward reform or driving it deeper into distrust and instability. For Nigerians watching, the issue comes down to one simple truth. Can a country plagued by insecurity ever find peace if its leaders' hands are not clean? And if it takes neighboring countries to force transparency, what does that say about Nigeria itself? We'd love to hear your views. Do you think these revelations will lead to real change, or will they be swept aside like so many other scandals? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have a respectful, constructive discussion, because your voice matters. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, share it widely, and subscribe to Newsline Africa for more hard-hitting analysis on the issues shaping Africa's future. Your support helps us keep bringing you in-depth, uncompromising reporting. Disclaimer: the views shared in this analysis are based on currently available reports and developing information. The allegations mentioned here have not been independently verified and should not be treated as proven facts. This content is for informational and analytical purposes only and is produced fully in line with YouTube's community guidelines.